This is the beginning of your descent into the inner world, the place where true transformation actually happens. Most spiritual paths will teach you how to ascend, how to raise your vibration, how to find the light. But no one evolves by bypassing their own darkness. You evolve by meeting it, understanding it, and integrating the parts of yourself you were taught to hide, silence, or reject. In this module, we explore what the shadow truly is, why it forms, and how it quietly shapes your behavior, your relationships, your emotional patterns, and even your sense of identity. The shadow is not evil. It is not a flaw. It is simply the part of you that you learned, at some point in your life, was not safe to express. Every person carries a shadow because every person has experienced moments where their true expression was judged, dismissed, mocked, or punished. When a child feels that who they really are is too much, too emotional, too sensitive, too demanding, too loud, too curious, or too honest, that child will do the only thing a child can do: they push parts of themselves down so they can remain loved, accepted, and safe. The shadow begins in innocence, not in darkness. As you grew, you learned what versions of yourself got approval, validation, or at least survival. You learned which parts of you made people uncomfortable. You learned which emotions earned connection and which emotions earned withdrawal. And so, you built a self out of what was rewarded, and you buried the rest. This is how the shadow forms, not through trauma alone, but through subtle, repetitive, often invisible lessons about what parts of you are acceptable. The shadow isn't just the negative traits you pushed away. It can also contain your brilliance, your confidence, your sensuality, your power, your voice, your boundaries, your creativity, your intuition, and even your joy. The shadow is the vault of everything you couldn't safely express. It is both your wounds and your gold. The shadow lives in the unconscious mind. This means you don't have direct access to it. You can't simply think your way into it. The shadow shows itself indirectly through your reactions. The things that trigger you. The things you judge. The people you envy. The situations you avoid. The emotional patterns that repeat themselves even when you swear you're done with them. The shadow speaks through what you reject in others, what you deny in yourself, and what you feel powerless to change. Shadow behavior is often automatic because the unconscious mind is fast. When something touches an old wound or threatens an inner belief, your body reacts before your logic does. You tense. You overreact. You withdraw. You defend. You attack. You shut down. These reactions aren't random, they're the shadow trying to protect you from experiencing an emotion you once learned was unsafe. This is why shadow work matters. You cannot heal what you cannot see, and you cannot transform what stays unconscious. When you begin this work, you start to notice which emotions you push down, which needs you minimize, and which patterns you keep repeating. You begin to recognize the voice of your shadow, the part of you that says, "I'm not enough, I need to earn love, I can't show this part of myself, I must stay in control," or "I have to stay small to be safe." These beliefs were not born in adulthood. They were formed through early experiences that taught your nervous system what to expect from life. The shadow is also shaped by collective conditioning. Society tells you how you should behave, how you should look, how you should feel, and which identities are acceptable. Anything outside those norms gets pushed into the collective shadow. Sensitivity, intuition, feminine power, masculine vulnerability, emotional expression, sexuality, mysticism, uniqueness, rebellion, all of these qualities have been shamed collectively at different points in history. So your personal shadow contains not just your own repressed qualities, but also the pieces of humanity that have been buried for generations. Shadow work asks you to turn toward yourself with honesty, compassion, and curiosity. It asks you to observe your reactions without judgment. It asks you to see your triggers as messages, your patterns as teachers, and your emotions as information. The shadow is not trying to sabotage you. It's trying to protect you based on outdated information. When you meet it consciously, you give it new information. You teach it that the fear it carries is no longer valid. You show it that you are safe now. And when the shadow feels safe, it releases its grip. The deeper truth is this: the shadow is not your enemy. The shadow is your guide. It shows you the parts of you that are ready to return home. When you stop fighting it, it becomes the doorway to your power, your purpose, and your authentic self. Everything you have suppressed contains the energy you need to rise. As we move through this course, you will learn how to identify your shadow patterns, how to trace them back to their origins, and how to integrate the parts of you that have been exiled. Integration doesn't mean eliminating shadows. It means allowing them to exist without controlling you. It means taking back the power you once gave away. It means remembering who you were before the world taught you to dim your light. This module is your foundation. As you continue, stay curious. Notice what resonates. Notice what challenges you. Notice what emotions come up as you explore these ideas. The parts that make you uncomfortable are often the parts that are ready to be reclaimed. Welcome to the work that changes everything. Welcome to the beginning of your alchemy.